everyone. Oh, I'm just going to move my camera a little bit. Let's have a look. That's a little bit better. Hello and welcome to Izzy's Crafty Bees. I'm Izzy Shashinsky and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the UK in the North Nottinghamshire region. And welcome to my live this Tuesday lunchtime. I'm really hoping I am live. I'm just going to hang on for a brief moment. I know that a couple of my regular watchers are not able to join me today, so I am hoping that someone jumps on. Yes, Mum, thank you for jumping on. Just because until I see that a person is watching, I never know whether I am actually live or whether I'm just talking to my phone. So, hello. I feel that we may have a smaller audience today. A couple of people have messaged me to say that they're not going to be able to watch me live, but they're going to watch on catch up, so that's absolutely fine. So hello if you are watching me on catch up later on, and hello also if you're watching me over on my YouTube channel, where I upload my live Facebook demonstrations after the event. So thank you for joining me later in the day. But as this is a live broadcast at the moment and is recorded live, then I shall crack on. I've got a really fun project to show you today. It's quite simple. It's actually a lot simpler than it looks. It is a couple of weeks since I made the one I'm going to show you today, and I have made another one after that to give as a birthday gift box. So this is a gift package that can be used for any occasion. It's all about how you decorate it and what kinds of fancy paper you use to trim it up. But I'm going to show you the fundamentals today. Oh, that's a big word for a Tuesday, write it down. So yeah, thanks for joining, and I'll start as always by just sharing with you 3 things that have made me happy since I last appeared here. So firstly, at the weekend, Mr. Shiz and myself nipped to our caravan in Norfolk. We have our caravan based there all year round, and it is a full all year round site, and we can go whenever we like. We tend obviously not to go as much during the winter months, but it is nice just to have a bit of a getaway. And we had one purpose and one purpose only for the weekend, and that was to remove the awning before the storms blow it down. We'd been a bit lax in the autumn and we had left it up anyway. We arrived on Saturday in glorious sunshine and the awning was still standing, so that made me enormously happy. It's now drip drying in the utility room, but anyway, that's another story. So just being tucked up and cosy in our caravan overnight, it was lovely just to have a change of scenery as always. Something else that's made me happy is actually being tucked up and warm today. It's stormy outside, it's very cold here in North Nottinghamshire. I've got the heating on, there's only me in. It's a bit extravagant. I normally just wrap up in lots of layers, but it makes crafting a bit harder, especially if you're trying to craft in fingerless gloves. So I'm happy to be indoors today. And the third thing that's made me happy since I last appeared here is I got, Mum and I often send things to each other, and I know you're watching, Mum, but Mum sent me a lovely card and it just really made me smile because she'd altered the sentiment to say, well, I'll show you it on the right way round. I'll just turn my camera around and then I can show you it. So without further ado, I am going to get on and I'm going to turn the camera around and then we'll start doing some crafting. I just need to pop on my reading glasses so I can make sure I press the right button. Oh, hi there, Shaz. You're walking the dogs with me. Have you got your earbuds in? How fab. Oh, get back indoors and get dry. Okay, so let's just get the camera angle sorted. We'll have a little bit of wiggling and let's just see if I can bring that a little bit further forward. That will help matters. So as always, I'll just, oh, here's Mum's card. So Mum amended the sentiment. Instead of saying birthdays are the best days, how fantastic is that? So I love that. That's there on my desk, cheering me up. So as always, I will just talk about the host code. currently, and this is likely to go pretty quickly because tomorrow we have the 8th of December, for one day only, we have free shipping on all orders over £35. And this is something that Stampin' Up don't often give us much prior warning with stuff. I'm just going to alter that camera angle a little bit. And they just announced this last night. So any orders tomorrow, if you're going to shop with me, shop online, use the host code, orders over £35, you'll get free shipping delivered direct to your door. And I'm actually going to treat tomorrow as the last shopping online day, well, last shopping day for Christmas deliveries. We've got some supply chain issues, as have lots of other companies. We also have some logistic issues with UPS being our courier, and their deliveries are a bit slower at this time of the year, or at the moment. And we also have had notification that our big warehouse in Germany, Stampin' Up, have some COVID issues, very sadly. So I'm going to treat tomorrow, I don't care what you see on any other demonstrators' websites or any other demonstrators' social media feed. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to treat this free shipping day as the last day for placing Christmas orders. But I do have some good news. If you miss this last shipping day and you want to save your money, I will be offering some gift vouchers for Christmas. So if your hubby or your loved ones haven't chosen your Christmas gifts and you want some Stampin' Up stuff, then please contact me and we can talk about Christmas shipping and Christmas gift vouchers. So that's that bit of admin done. Let's have a look at the project. So I have to give a massive shout out to fellow demonstrator and friend Michaela Titheridge, wonderful demonstrator here in the UK, and her social media feed, I think, is the Crafty Oink pen. The Crafty Oink, as in the sound that pigs make, the Crafty Oink pen. So if you please do look up Michaela, she's a very talented demonstrator and a good friend, and she shared this project earlier in the year, not decorated for Christmas, but I thought it was so clever. When I came across it, I just had to have a go. It's a really clever gift box, very simply made using our mini paper pumpkin boxes, and I've just altered the lid ever so slightly and decorated the box to look like a book. And yes, Shaz, I'm just standing at the moment, so I am reading comments. At the moment, Michaela is going through a bit of a tough time. Her mum's quite poorly. So yeah, bless her heart. So it's a big shout out and a thank you to Michaela for the idea for this gift box. And I'll share with you how I made it. I just saw Michaela's pictures and didn't really need much of to follow any instructions. I simply just copied the pictures and made it up as I went along. It's so simple. So I'm going to just grab some supplies. I will make the one that I'm demonstrating will look different to this. I'm going to decorate it a little bit differently using some different products, and I may even wing it as I go along. So I'm going to use one of the mini paper pumpkin boxes, and they are, let me just give you an item number and stop rattling this cellophane. So you get 10 in a pack, and they are item number 153069, and I'm going to just try and find out how much they are because I didn't write that down like a nana that I am. I wasn't sure whether I'd written that on. No, I didn't write it on a post-it sticker. That was for something else I want to show you. If we have time, I'm going to give you a bonus item at the end of this demonstration. So let me just quickly go to packaging in my annual catalogue. So in the annual catalogue, all the packaging basics, ready-made gift boxes, etc. are all on one page, page 137. And item number 6 is the mini paper pumpkin boxes, and they're £7 for a pack of 10. Something else I want to just point out to you, I'm just going to balance my catalogue, is that you will see there is a shiny side and a matte side. And if you use the shiny side inside your gift box, that makes them food safe. So if you're a baker and you like to bake maybe some cookies or gingerbread biscuits for Christmas gifts, maybe some really beautiful Florentines, please send them to me because they're my favourite. I absolutely adore Florentines. You can safely package your food goodies in these boxes. So I'm going to just take a seat and I'm going to do some crafting. So I'm going to just pop that one to one side. I'm going to just make sure that my grid sheet stays still and I know my work area. So these are really easy to assemble. The only thing you need to do is in these little holes there is a little tag of card, and you just need to pop that out and pop it free, and then just burnish all of the score lines. I've actually gone ahead and done that on mine already. And then to assemble it couldn't be easier. You do kind of at first you feel like you need 3 pairs of hands to do this, but really you just need to, the tip I will give you is to fold that lid back while you fold these side pieces over, and then these little lugs here locate into the holes, and that holds the tray of the box, and that's the assembly. The rest of the box is self-explanatory, and the original fastening has these 2 lips here that slide in. Now on my gift box I actually cut off all of that front piece here from this line forward. Goodness me, I think the roof's going to blow off, that storm's really blowing in. From this crease here I cut off the entire flap. Now for this one I'm actually going to leave that front flap on, but I'm going to remove those side lugs, and I'm going to just show you an alternative to a ribbon fastening, and you can probably guess what it is. I'm going to use some of those Velcro dots just as an alternative, so you can close your box and you could use a Velcro dot to actually fasten that box there. So I'm going to just get rid of those 2 little lugs. You could even use the extra strong magnets if you've got some of those magnets, and what I would recommend there is that you do decorate the sides perhaps with some fancy paper as well as the top and the bottom, because that will give you something to actually hide the magnets under. You'd want to pop a magnet underneath here. This is, oh golly, this is what I'm talking about, these really strong little tiny magnets, and you would need 2 of those. They're very, very thin but incredibly strong, as you can see, and that packet of magnets was actually stuck to a screwdriver on my desk. So what you would do is you would stick one here with a glue dot, and then you would cover it with a piece of designer series paper or maybe cardstock of your choice, just to hide and conceal the magnet. And you would do the same, sticking your other magnet to the other side here with a glue dot, and then maybe popping a strip of cardstock over the top just to conceal it, and then it would close. But I'm going to show you, let me just pop those back. I'm going to show you using the Velcro dots. So, but before we do that we need to get some cardstock together. So I'll just pop my plain box to one side, and I'm going to use some Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to also use, I'm going to continue to use my Tidings of Christmas designer series paper, and I thought that that one was quite nice because it has the Misty Moonlight in the pattern. And I thought I might use that for this, just for the spine. So you only use the designer series paper for the spine of your box and maybe what you're decorating on the front. So I thought I'd use that one. Let me just pop the rest back in the wallet and find a space to pop that down. I'm also going to need some ribbon if I'm going to close the box with a ribbon, some Velcro dots, and you just buy these in the haberdashery store. These are all crumpled up, I've had them yonks, so I'm just going to pop those to one side. And then you need some bits and pieces to decorate. Now I've got some really pretty snowflakes here in a tub, and I'm going to tell you how I made those just in a moment. I've got some post-it stickers with some measurements for you. So I'm just going to stick those to my grid sheet and then I'm going to check whether you can see them. Yes, that's wonderful. So you need 2 covers and 1 spine, and that's pretty much it really. You might need some extra white cardstock for your decoration, so we'll grab that in a moment. I'm going to work on the covers first. I'm going to bring in my trimmer and stand again and just see what we can see on the trimmer. I like to have the top of my trimmer in view, even if my bottom of my trimmer's just going out of shot, so you can watch the measurements. So I need 2 pieces that are 15 by 10.5, so that's quite straightforward. I'm just going to pop my cardstock up against the guide at the top, making sure that it's nice and square, and use my trimming blade. And we just slide and glide with the trimming blade. With this style trimmer, some of you may have the old trimmer, still be using the old Stampin' Up trimmer if you've got any old blades, because that is now an obsolete trimmer. With the old trimmer we used to push and put pressure on. With this style trimmer we just slide and glide. There's no need to push down. And then I need 2 pieces at a 10.5, so that's really handy. We can get actually 4 covers from 1 sheet of A4 cardstock. So now we have 2 covers, 10.5 by 15. So we could do 2 gift boxes with 1 sheet. For the spine I need a piece 15 centimetres by 6 centimetres. Now this designer series paper is the 6" by 6" stack, so it should be just a little bit wider than 15. So I am just going to cut an absolute skinny little piece off and just pop that in the bin, and then I'm going to cut that down to 6 centimetres. So I've now got my piece of designer series paper for the spine. And just pop that piece to one side. I'm going to potentially use this piece to decorate my box like I have done this one by cutting a label, so I'll just pop that to one side. And this strip I'm going to talk about in a moment with my snowflakes, so stay tuned. I don't need my trimmer again, I don't think. I think we're all set. And this really couldn't be simpler. The first thing I want to do is adhere the plain covers to the front and the back of the box. So really quite straightforward. We're going to stick 1 cover to the front and 1 cover to the back. There we go. And I'm going to use we need to make sure that we stick it to the lid and we don't get any glue on these side pieces, because otherwise we won't be able to open the lid. I know I probably didn't need to say that, but I've said it anyway. And I'm just going to tuck that, see if I can tuck that in. I don't think it will because it's wider. I'm not going to tuck it in. I'm talking to myself. Right, so I'm going to start with the bottom, and I am actually going to use Multipurpose Liquid Glue, because if I used tape glue, first and foremost, this glue is a very strong glue for construction. And in fact, I always use the nozzle end for most applications, and I'm going to use the spreader end. I may need to give it a shake because I always store my glues upside down, because we've got quite a large area here. So let's... Oh, I'm a bit cold. Can't get warm. A bit shivery. Popped the heating on, but it doesn't feel like it's warmed up my craft room yet. And I've been working on admin all morning, so I can't stop thinking about Shaz being out with the dogs on this really blustery day. Ooh! Much as I absolutely miss my doggy, I don't miss walking on days like this. So you can see this spreading end is really handy, so I can stand my glue down on the desk, and just because it's a wet glue, it should just give me a little bit more wiggle room to make sure that I've got that on nice and straight. So what I'm looking for, if I can hold it this way perhaps, is that I've got it equal across here and I've still got a bit of a lip. Got a lip either side, and when I'm happy with that position I can open the box and give it some pressure inside. I can use my bone folder to give that some pressure. Now I have to say that Michaela's gift box was a little bit more complicated than mine, because she'd actually made some lovely dividing structures inside, and she'd filled her gift box with some goodies, some tags, and some other bits and pieces. So if you are interested in how she packaged hers, please do visit her blog. Actually, you'll find her on social media and there should be a link to her blog, and it really is a beautiful project. So let's stick that front cover on now. So onto the lid I'm going to just spread some glue. You'll be amazed how easy this box is. It's about taking your time just to get things lined up and nice and straight. It's really quite satisfying using that spreading end of the glue. We always use the nozzle end because it gives you a nice and fine and easily manageable application. Let's have a look and just to double check that I'm nice and straight. Now the front of the box, you can actually see these sides because they do tend to just belly out a little bit. I'm just making sure I'm nice and straight, and we do want an overlap because we want it to look like a book, so we do want that to actually overlap. Now if I'd have been fastening this with ribbon, I would have attached my ribbon underneath. So I would have got, and I should have shown you that first, I would have got myself 2 lengths of ribbon. I would have just measured the ribbon I felt. You don't need to go all the way round, but you do need to attach your ribbon sort of at least halfway underneath your cover. And I would have attached that with a tape glue, because you need that to stick, and then I would have put my wet glue over the top and left myself a good tail for tying that pretty bow at the front. But as I want to use a Velcro fastener for this one, I didn't actually put the ribbon underneath, so I'm just going to bring this one back in and show you. You see how I've put the ribbon sandwiched between the lid of the box and the cover. So if you're going to put ribbon and you want to do that ribbon tie, then that's the time to do it before you actually stick your cover down. Yeah, you can just see the sides of the box bellying out there, and that might well be because this is a box that I've previously used. When you first assemble them they are a little bit stronger, but I've disassembled this and then reassembled it again. Okay, so that's the front and the back cover of the box. I'm now going to show you what I did with the spine. Now I've done a couple of things. I'm going to get my Stampin' Pierce mat. This is my nice old one, the one that I use for piercing and all of that kind of stuff, and I've got a nice clean one that I use for stamping, so it's nice and smooth. But this one I'm actually going to use what am I talking about? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. As you can see, the spine of the book is nicely rounded. If I just tried to glue this on and then curve it round, the chances are that this paper would crease and wrinkle, and you want it to be nice and smooth. So by using your Stampin' Pierce mat and your bone folder held flat, and if you just rub it along with a bit of pressure, you can see that the paper starts to curl on its own. So just keep working that paper along the length with your bone folder and a bit of pressure. Keep going, keep going. And it's almost like a magic trick. You can see it's folding and curling all on its own. And what's happening is that pressure of the bone folder across the paper is actually starting to break down and soften the fibres in the actual paper, and that's what causes the curl. So if you've ever made paper chains as a child or even as an adult, you'll know that by curling them, using something hard across them, they will curl round, and that's exactly the same principle. You're actually breaking down or softening the fibres within the paper, and that will help you to have that nice curved spine to your book box. Now the other thing I want to do is I actually want to go to town a little bit more with this one. I'm going to get a ruler and I'm going to do some score lines. It's probably difficult to see, but I've made 3 different score lines along the spine of this box just to make it look like an old book. So I'm going to take my scoring tool. Now I've got a scoring tool here from my scoreboard. In fact, I think I might bring in my scoreboard. Let me just have a look. It is to one side of me, but it's down on the floor. So I'm just going to bring in my Stampin' Up scoreboard, and it's quite a big tool, and one of the reasons I use it very little actually on a live demonstration on air is just the sheer size of this scoreboard. It's a really brilliant tool. It sits very firmly on my desk, and it has some rubber feet, some non-slip feet, so it's a really fantastic tool. And it actually comes with this stylus with a large ball end. Let me just get the camera to focus, on a smaller ball end. And today I'm going to, oh hi, Lorna and Lydia are watching. Hello, in your lunch break. Oh, you're toasty walking 17 dogs, Shaz. Goodness me, that's amazing. 17 dogs. That's amazing. So I was saying I'm going to use my larger ball end because I'm using paper and not cardstock, and I'm just going to make 3 score lines quite close together. I'm just taking my time because I've curled the paper. There. And then I'm going to come to the other end, and I'm sorry if my head's in shot, it might be. And then I'm going to I'm kind of skipping a groove. I'm just using the inches scoreboard. I'm missing a groove, and then I'm going into the next one. And that's given me, I'm hoping the camera can pick this up, that's just given me 3 score lines. I'm kind of angling it into the light just so you can see. And up close and in real life, that looks quite nice and realistic, like an old spine of an old book. So that's one thing I'm going to do to this book spine. I'm just going to pop my scoreboard back in its home on the floor, and hopefully it doesn't fall over and make a big crash. And let me just reline myself back up. That's brilliant. Mum, that's so funny. 17 dogs, that's definitely a pack lunch. That's brilliant. Okay, so something else I'd like to do to this book is actually give it a title, and I might just look for a fun title, something like This Christmas Blessings to You and Yours, or even Happy Christmas, or Sharing the Promise of the Season might be quite a good, in fact, Sharing the Promise of the Season might be a really good title for a book. So let's stamp that, and I'm actually going to stamp and heat emboss it in silver because I just thought that that would make it look quite cute. I've got lots of glue sticking everything together. Let me just reposition myself. So for that I'm going to need some Versamark ink and my silver embossing powder just from the shelf above me. Could do with a bit more space on my desk, but that's always the case when doing a live demonstration. Ordinarily I just chuck things on the floor when I'm just crafting on my own. So let's, just before we do that, let's grab the embossing buddy. And let me just give that a little bit of a wipe. and I'm going to try and get this title in the middle. So I'm using my grid sheet as a bit of a rough guide. I've laid the spine on there just as straight as I can, and I'm going to just eyeball this sentiment / book title into the middle. And again, it's always really tricky when you're demonstrating and you can't be have your head right over the piece that you're doing. So let's see whether I got that anywhere near straight. Ooh. Whether that will show up, I don't know. Let's get the heat tool on it and have a look. So this is the first time I'm winging it. It's the first time I've tried this on this project, and I've got cables everywhere. So let's have a go. That's warming me up. It's subtle, but it's showing up. There, I think you can see that now. It's very subtle. I could have perhaps done a label and stuck that on, but I would wonder whether that would stay stuck down with that curl. Anyway, we've done that, and let's move that out of the way with the lid on so we can be safe. And I'm going to now stick on my fancy spine onto my book, but before I also do that, I want to add an extra strip. Now this is iridescent paper, and I got this, being a very frugal crafter, I'll just move some bits out of the way, from, do you remember I shared with you the wonderful snowflakes, pre-laser cut snowflakes? Well, these come on sheets like this, and the sheet is a little bit longer, and I actually trimmed off the edge of the sheet and got myself this beautiful strip of iridescent paper. Not only that, but I also used these sections, because this is the last snowflake I have left. I've used them all up on Christmas cards. I've absolutely loved this product this Christmas season. I'm delighted to know that this is going to be returning in a future catalogue. I've used up every single snowflake apart from this one, and you get these pieces of waste, even the corners. And yesterday evening I sat with my snowflake dies and I cut all of these snowflakes. I'm just going to lay them out. I know I'm demonstrating the box and I will get on with it. I just wanted to show you how brilliant the snowflake dies are, firstly, and just how much waste there was with these snowflakes. Look how many I cut out, and I've still got one sheet left. Even these little tiddlies, these all came from the corners. So how brilliant. I've got all of that, all gorgeous iridescent, and that made me want to change slightly the design of this. The front of this book, I wanted to use the blue colours. So I'm going to just pop maybe 3 of those to one side. Let's have a look at the different sizes I've got. I didn't cut out one of the really big ones, so I might just save 5 of those, and we'll have a tiddler as well. And we'll pop all the rest back in that container. So I've still got all of these for further projects. There we go. There we go. I'll pop those to one side. So I'm going to stick this piece of iridescent paper on first and trim it to size. I'm just going to have a look at what sort of space. In fact, I might just stick this to the back. Look, you see, I'm waffling again. You can tell that this was... Which way up should that writing go? It should go that way. It was actually a couple of weeks ago since I made my original, so I just couldn't quite remember which order things went in. Now I'm going to use, for this stick-on, I am going to use some tear and tape. I could use Stampin Seal Plus, but I think I'm going to use tear and tape in this instance. I'm going to run a strip of that just along the full length. I'll just trim that off. I do apologise if I'm a bit all over the place today. It's one of those projects that I just didn't make yesterday, and often when I do a demonstration I do a project, design it on the Monday and then demonstrate it on the Tuesday, so it's absolutely fresh in my mind. But this week I didn't. I decided in fairness, I was going to do this as a local class in my own home for local customers, but then that didn't quite work out. So all I'm going to do is just wrap that gently round like this, but I want to stick on my strip of iridescent first, so I just need to see where that comes up to. So that's great. It's about the width of some tear and stick tape. Oh, this is when I get into 6s and 7s with tear. Tear and stick tape is not one of my favourite glue choices. So I'm sticking that as close to the edge as possible. I just find it really, my hands just don't seem to find it easy to stick down. Oh. Oh, I hope you're all having a good giggle. I'm actually going to pop Stampin Seal Plus on the back of this. I just find a runner glue much easier to manage. She says running completely offline, but I'm not bothered about that being offline. I'm going to, that bit that's run offline, I'm actually going to pop. Oh, I'll have to tear that off first. That's the other thing I hate, is trying to get the backing off. There we go. I could quite probably easily have used, I want to get that right close, could quite probably easily have used wet glue for this, to be fair. Right, now we're getting somewhere. So I want to just overlap. There we go. That just gives me a little bit extra. I'm going to just give that a good old press down with my bone folder, making sure that that's stuck. And I can trim that edge off so we're the right length. There we are. Super. Happy with that. Now I do have a bit stuck to my finger. I think I do have a little tiny bit of tear and stick tape just there. Not tear and stick tape, this stuff. Just protruding. Now I can use my glue rubber to lift that. Alternatively, if I've got something like that, I often just give it a tap with the embossing buddy, and that just stops anything else sticking to it. And that's absolutely fine now, that's not going to stick to anything else. So we're ready to actually decorate the front, and I think what I'm going to do is change out, or shall I continue with my robin? I think I will continue with my robin because I really do love this robin. But I'm going to use these iridescent snowflakes instead. So I'm actually going to cut a label from the designer series paper to match the spine, and I'm going to just grab a piece of white cardstock and stamp and colour the robin. If you saw how I did that last week, apologies. In fact, I'm just going to have a look. Bear with me, because I do have this robin left from my demonstration the other week when I showed you how to just stamp the robin in various metallics. So I could go ahead and use this one. It's Night of Navy rather than Misty Moonlight, or I could stamp and colour the robin on white. I'm going to put that over to to you watching live while I cut the label. And for the label I'm going to use my Stitch So Sweetly dies. So please will you vote Night of Navy or Stampin' Colour. And I'm going to use the largest of the pretty shaped labels, and I'm just going to pop over to my die cutting machine while you have a vote. I've got my label for the front there. Let's have a look. Stampin' Colour. Fab. Right, I'm going to grab some white. For my next question, should I colour him simply like this one with the Daubers, or shall I colour the robin using, let me think, I would say blends, but I don't think I've got a suitable colour for the red breast. I'm just going to stamp and colour the same as I did last week because it's a really nice, quick and easy colouring technique. And then I should have enough time to show you another cute, quick packaging idea for those little gifts. Now, where's my block? Let's have a look. So this robin does fit on this block size D, I think that is, on a D block, and I'm going to stamp in soft suede. Where are you? I'm going to stamp him in soft suede. Or crumb cake works nicely. Really simple, just stamp him. Soft suede is a nice, it's a bit softer than that black outline or that harsh black. Might not come across just as easily on camera. And I'm going to colour using crumb cake and Cajun Craze, which is exactly how I coloured the first one. And I'm going to use 2 Daubers. I'm surprised they're not still out on my desk because I've been colouring this robin so much using this technique. It's so good. Before I actually go in with my Daubers, I will just, on heat setting, number 1 on my heat tool, just give that a little bit of a dry. I don't want to smudge if that soft suede ink hasn't quite dried. Do a tiny test because sometimes with those juicy ink pads the colour doesn't quite dry. And I'm going to go in with some crumb cake, just testing whether my Daubers are clean enough. I'm a bit of lazy when it comes to cleaning. I'm not lazy when it comes to cleaning most things. I'm not quite happy with that one. I'm just going to swap it. I'm quite fastidious with cleaning. I'm talking off camera, I'll come back in a tick. I'm quite fastidious when it comes down to cleaning things like my blocks and glue from things, but when it comes down to cleaning colouring tools I can be a little bit lazy. So I'm just going to, yeah, I'm happy with that colour. So these sponge Daubers are fab for just adding some quick colour. And I said this last week, if you missed me, I'm not going to be clever or precise with this colour. I'm just swirling and smudging some ink from the pad, from the Dauber onto the stamped image. It really couldn't be quicker. And we're going to fussy cut, so staying within the lines is not a thing. And with Cajun Craze, I'm actually going to ink the edge of the Dauber. So if I hold that up, I'm just inking the edge. I think this is probably the 3rd time I've repeated this, and just test that on my grid sheet. So if you haven't seen me do this before, you've not been watching, go back and watch my other videos. And the robin's red breast is only around his face and just down a little bit on the breast, and his tummy's always white. And then I will just add a little tiny bit of colour to his legs. And again, I could go in with a pencil, but I'm going to just go over using the edge of this dauber, because we're going to fussy cut round anyway, and it just stops him having white legs, because that would just look wrong. Probably the same for his beak, to be fair. And that really couldn't be easier, and I'm going to just grab my snips and do some fussy cutting. And again, it's a really simple image to fussy cut. There's nothing difficult with it. I'm just going slightly away from the actual stamped line, and I think the only tricky bit is the end of the tail and round the feet, and even then that's not tricky. There we go. Something so restful and relaxing about fussy cutting. For me anyway. It's not everybody's cup of tea. So we've got our pretty little robin. He can go on the box. You can see how it's going to come together so quickly now. I want to stamp a greeting, and we will heat emboss that greeting as well. So let's find my stamp set. And just a quick word about the Happy Holidays stamp set. Really cute stamp set, but not going to be reappearing in a catalogue after the end of December, so you only have until, I think it's the 3rd of January actually, when the Christmas catalogue retires. If you absolutely love this stamp set and you want to pop it in possibly a little bit too late to get it and make Christmas cards for this year, but if you really love the robin and the sentiments in this stamp set, then it's your last chance to get it before it actually disappears, because it's not going to be coming back into a catalogue next year. And if you remember, it's actually available with a punch that punches out holly, and it is available as a bundle until the catalogue finishes, until this Christmas catalogue finishes. So if you like the punch as well, now is your chance, really. Oh, let me just have another sprinkle. I seem to be juggling with everything that I do today, but hey, it's crafting, it's messy, and it's how it happens, isn't it? So here we go. I'm going to switch on the heat embosser. Just a little bit of metallics makes your projects that bit more special. I could have just stamped that in Misty Moonlight and it would have looked pretty, but not quite as special. And I'm going to have a look and see, shall I punch that? I'll punch that using the same punch that I used on the other one. So I just need to trim it down a little bit. Pop the trimmer back in, and I'm just going to trim that down a little bit. Now when I do this, I usually just guesstimate it, because even though those lovely punches, and I'll show you what I mean in a tick, let's just whiz that down there like that. And I'm just looking to make even space at either end. I'm just going to trim a little bit off using my big scissors, because I can do one snip. Let's just move that. So I'm talking about this fancy punch, and although the Fancy Punch has these guidelines and you can trim your paper down to exactly the right width, I just tend to, and I know I've said this before, hold the punch the other way up, slide the sentiment in, and then making sure, and I'm going to find something to point with, that I've lined it up here equally either side. Do a half a squeeze just to hold it, and making sure I'm lined up nicely there, just give it a squeeze. Same with the other end, just turn it round and feed it back in. I'm not concerning myself with having it lined in the grooves on the top, I'm concerning myself with lining it up on the other side. I'm not even concerning myself with lining this edge up along the bottom here, because I may have snipped it slightly off. So let's just move that across a little bit. Oop. And we should have a sentiment with two fancy ends. Having said all of that about lining it up, I even don't think I've got that lined up. My excuse is that I am not close to my project when I'm making on live demonstration. It's really quite tricky. The angles that we have to get with our camera angle and our head angle, and ordinarily I would be working at sort of like this kind of close, and my head would be here and it would be a lot closer. So that's my excuse, I'm sticking to it, but I've talked you through a good process to use when you're using that punch. So let's press on, and I'm going to finish off decorating this box and add that. Let me just move that so you can see, and I've got the lid off my Versamite. That's never good, is it? I'm going to just keep those in camera shot just so you want those measurements. So I'm going to stick this label on using Dimensionals. I'm going to pop 4 on there. I will just kind of keep my mind on having some space to poke those maybe one or two of those snowflakes underneath. So I've not gone too close to the edges. There we are. Just pop that there. I'll pop our sentiment on. I think we might just tuck that up. I'm wondering what that might be like on top of the label with my robin on the top of that. No, it's obscuring it too much, I think. Don't want to bury his feet. We'll keep that all separate. We'll go with the original design. So I'm going to stick my sentiment down flat, and again I use some Stampin Seal for speed. Straight, I think that's straight, and we'll pop Robin on. Now I want to pop Robin on, but I want to give him some dimensions. I'm just gently curling him round, just gently. I'm going to pop a dimensional right in the middle of his tummy. I might just pop 2 there actually, right in the middle of his body. Good grief, that storm outside. Ooh, it's blowing. And I'm going to pop some glue. Oh, now my glue's sat down at the bottom of the tube and not at the top. Come on. There we go, a little blob of glue on his feet and a little blob of glue on the top of his tail. And that should give my gorgeous robin just a bit of dimension. There's just that puffiness underneath his tummy, just steps him up a little bit. And now we can trim up with these snowflakes, so we'll just scatter them and see what they look like. I'll put 1 there. I think we might stick with 3. I think I got 5 out. I did get the tiddler out somewhere, but it's disappeared. I might go with 5. Let's have a look. I have that one there. I've got plenty in here. These little ones. Go with one up there. I think we'll just do that. We'll go with that. So I'm going to stick these down. These have, although they're a nice shiny iridescent front, they do have handily a matte backing, which makes them a bit easier to stick. And I'm just going to stick them with some dots of glue. Just hold that in place for a few seconds. Go. Come on. Slide that under there a little bit more. Now I'm getting glue everywhere, but not a worry. So we'll just dust that. If I've got any sticky residue, I will just dust it with my embossing buddy, and it just takes that stickiness away. Sometimes it's useful to use your glue rubber, and sometimes just using your embossing buddy just to take that stickiness away. My fingers are so sticky. There we go. And I'm going to finish off with some rhinestones in my bling box. Now I do have some silver pearls. We could look at silver pearls, but I was thinking maybe some clear rhinestones might be quite pretty. Let's have a look. Something I feel like I overlook, just the clear rhinestones. I tend to err towards the sequins. Do love a sequin, but these self-adhesive rhinestones are really lovely, so that's nicely decorated. I'm going to just pop that, tidy some of this stuff away to one side to start off with, and then we'll just pop that Velcro fastener on. Now these are quite old ones that I've had kicking around in my drawer for a bit, and I've got a feeling that peeling off one side of the backing is possibly going to prove difficult. I'm just going to pull that paper off. Oh, there you go, marvellous. So because I've stuck the Velcro dots together, I know I'm going to get the right place on the box. And I could have put 2, I could have put one either side. I'm wondering actually if, to make that opening a bit easier, it might be useful to actually pop a tab of ribbon underneath that Velcro dot. I think actually if I was going to rectify that or do a retrofit, I don't think I'll get that off now. Oh, I might just do, because it's shiny, let's just do a rectification. I'm just going to pop that dot there, just see whether I can do something with a bit of ribbon. Actually, I'm not sure whether I needed to pull that off. I could do something with a bit of ribbon. Whether this is going to work or not, I have no idea. Please stick with me. Now this ribbon was, the denim ribbon was in a previous catalogue, and it's going to be making a return in your new January to June mini catalogue. So I'm just going to pop some Stampin Seal Plus just across there and see if I can get this to work. It's just a thought that it might make opening that box a tad easier. Now where's my dot gone? Was it that one? Was it that one? No, it wasn't that one. Which one was it? I think I might have stuck it to the wrong side. Oh, I'll go with that one. So I put that there, back on there, and then I close that back up. That just makes it a little bit easier to open. I think perhaps with a bit more faffing I could refine that, but it does just make it a little bit more, and perhaps that looks a little bit more masculine than tying with a bow like my original box. So let me just have a quick tidy up, and then I'm going to come in with another bonus gift packaging. I'm just having a look. I've been on air an hour, and this next project shouldn't take too long. So let me just pop these side by side. Just take away that grid paper so you can see how they look. I'll just tie that bow quickly for this one. Don't watch Lorna. Oh. See, she said, I'm going to tie it really quickly, and then I got all fumble fingered and it's upside down. So we have one with a bow and one with a Velcro fastening. I'm not sure which one looks best. I'll have a little vote from anyone who... Which one do you prefer? Love the blue. Love the blue. Great stuff. I love the blue actually. Blue's my favourite colour. Any shade of blue. They're really pretty, and like I say, let's just have a recap. They're food safe, so you can pop... Oh, and now... I've just noticed that that Velcro dot's not stuck to that ribbon. So I think that that just does need a bit more, that does need a little bit more work, that fastening. I also wonder if you could do a half circle punch there, so you've got something to pop your finger underneath, just for that opening. And I will have a play with that magnet as well, and I'll give feedback on that. So I'm going to just quickly move on to a last little bonus project. Let me just bring my grid sheet back in so I've got something to work on. And the reason I wanted to bring this in, I'm going to use the mini pizza box in gold because they're currently on the clearance rack. And I'm going to decorate this one not for Christmas but for any occasion. Gold, beautiful, could be used for a birthday, so I've just grabbed out of my drawer some bits and pieces, and I don't even think I'm going to do any die cutting as such. I've grabbed, let me just remind you, so there, item number 152068, you get 8 in a pack, and they were previously £6.50, and they're on a clearance rack for £2.60 for a pack of 8. And once again, these are food safe. They've got that shiny surface inside, and they're really easy to assemble. They assemble in exactly the same way as the mini paper pumpkin boxes. And once assembled, they are this size, and I've already pre-cut some bits. Once assembled, they open and close like this, should I say. And they are 9 centimetres by 9 centimetres square, I think. I'll just double check that. So again, yeah, there or thereabouts, maybe internal dimensions a little bit smaller than that, 8.5. So once again, if you're a baker and you make some cookies, you'd probably get a couple of cookies in there, something nice. If you like making jewellery, they're a really handy package to put some jewellery in for a friend. So I've grabbed out of my stash the Expressions in Ink Ephemera pack, because why do die cutting if you want something quick and easy when you've got some pre-die cut bits and bobs. I also grabbed a piece of basic white and I cut that into a 8 centimetre square. I punched using the tailored not tailored tag but tailored punch. I just punched a shape, and I've grabbed my Expressions in Ink Speciality Designer Series paper, and the piece I was looking at was this piece, maybe to do a belly band. I also wondered about this pink piece to do a belly band or to do some form of decoration because it's got gold in it. I've got all these bits and pieces and they're all offcuts. I've obviously done some other projects, and these are the bits that were left over, and they're the bits that have gold in them. Oh, there's a nice piece as well with a flower on the other side, and we've got this piece here. So I'm just going to have a look and have a mess. I haven't pre-designed anything. I'm just going to have a mess about and decorate this box and see how we get on. Thought I might just stamp a greeting on here. So let's do that. I'm not sure about the belly band idea now. I'm now thinking I could maybe fussy cut a couple of these lovely, I think they're pale papaya, peachy colour flowers, and just decorate this label. Or should I just do this label with a belly band and that? Let's have a look. So when I can't make my mind up, where's the original belly band? It had a green on it. So this green looks quite nice, and that would make this colour pop as well. So when I can't quite design, I just crack on and do something and then decide on the exactly what. So I'm eyeballing immediately these three images, and I'm going to actually reduce this one, keep this one the same. I'm just going to really quickly fussy cut that, try and keep that leaf with it, just snip that away. Quite often I do make up quick gift tags to add to customer packaging or team gifts, and I just grab my scrap box. I've got all kinds of different images in my scrap box, and I do like to use them up, and sometimes I think it's quite nice to wing it and just design something on the hoof. And I was just reviewing the clearance rack yesterday evening and thought, really, they're so beautiful, those mini pizza boxes. They really are. I'm just thinking about cutting this leaf. I'm going to cut that leaf separately. I might just trim that flower down a bit as well. You don't have to go with these quite free-formed flowers. We don't have to cut them exactly. So I've got three images there, and let's cut some of these leaves. We might use them, we might not. Oh, I'm warming up at last. We'll just pop those to one side, we might use them. Get rid of these bits. So, first thing I want to do actually is just stamp a nice greeting on there. So let's pop a, what about a nice thanks? I wonder if I can fit that thanks on there. Might be a bit too big. Just gonna grab, I'm trying to just really quickly grab a greeting. When you want to grab a quick one, you can't. Now where's the stamp set that goes with that? Now then, that would be useful, wouldn't it? So this is the stamp set that actually goes. So let's go with best wishes. That's a nice sentiment. And actually, as I've been heat embossing, let's grab the gold heat embossing powder, and I know the Versamark's on my desk, so why don't we quickly, and I'm going to actually stamp this Best Wishes across to one side so I can actually decorate with flowers to the other side, hoping that we're somewhere near straight. It's because it's not always that much more difficult to heat emboss, and yet you get that lovely extra special feeling. Okay, as my heat gun is here, let's go for it. This could turn out to be quite handy actually, because I've got 2 or 3 birthdays in December to gift for as well. So, bonus project, handy, helpful, all round. Let's have a think. So I'm just going to mop this up. I'm going to wrap that round. Shall we or shan't we go with belly band? Pop that there. We'll do something with this over the top. And we'll stick some flowers on the side. I think we will go with belly band actually. So I'm just going to quite simply, but we won't go with that white square. I've wrapped this band round and just pinched it on the edges. I haven't scored, I haven't measured, I've wrapped it round, and this was an offcut that I just had in the pack of DSP. I trimmed it to length, and this was before I went on air, and I started having a mess, and I thought, do you know what, I could actually demonstrate this. So that's as far as I got, was the belly band, grabbing the pack of ephemera, cutting a square of basic white and punching a piece for the sentiment. And then I thought, no, I can demonstrate this, let's use that, let's share with the folks. I'm going to stick that on with Dimensionals. Let's pop that on there with Dimensionals. Let's go like that. And again, I'm just going to stay away from that edge because I might want to pop flowers underneath and give it some, well, dimension for want of a better word. So I'm going to pop that all across to one side as well. Now this tricky little monkey, I want this to go over the top, but it's ever so fine, really tricky to stick on, so I'm going to be ever so careful using Multipurpose Liquid Glue just at one end and trying not to touch that multipurpose glue. And we'll just hold that at one end, and at this end I'm going to try and stick it down by using one of the flowers to stick over the top. I'm going to stick a big flower. I'm sure I cut 3. Where's the other one just jumped off to? Oh, this happens all the time. Oh, there it is. There's the big one. Well, similar size. I'm going to slide that one underneath, but maybe just proud of the belly band. Let's just slide that under there. Then I'm going to come in with this one because it's a bit more of an interesting shape, and perhaps stick that like that. So I'll need a dimensional underneath. They keep running away to the other side of the desk. I'll just pop dimensional over to this side and sort of slide that underneath the frame but over the top of the label, and then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to stick that like that, and that will hold the frame down as well. So I can put my glue on the back of this one, and that should hold that side of that frame down. Now we'll just finish off with these extra leaves. Let's have a look where we can pop those. Maybe underneath there. Maybe another one. Let's have a look over this side of that one. Not quite sure about the position of that one now. But the great thing about multi-purpose glue is we can just pull that out and we'll pop them both over here. Okay, now I mentioned this is the ephemera pack, and that's where I got the little gold frame from, and that also comes with all kinds of shapes, different size frames. I'm going to pull it all out of that cellophane because the cellophane's annoying. We have some sequins in the pack. Ooh, let's see, I'm so messy. It does come with tissue paper to protect everything, but I've clearly just abandoned that. So we have all these different shapes, hexagons. We also have some gold leaf shapes as well, so I might just pop a gold leaf behind there. Or does that get lost? It might be just getting a bit lost, but we'll pop it in anyway. There are some sprigs in the ephemera pack, there are some leaves. And it just means that if you haven't got a die cutting machine, then you can have some die cut pieces. If you just have got a die cutting machine but you haven't got it handy, maybe your crafting space isn't a dedicated craft room, and to set up your die cutting machine might just take too much time, then you can also just quite easily pop out these laser cut pieces. So very simply, with the ephemera pack, some scraps of designer series paper, and really the only work was heat embossing that sentiment. I've been able to use one of those sale gold boxes, the mini pizza boxes, and oh, I've got some glue on it, but I will remove that. One tip, if you get glue on foil, is to actually wash it, because the glue is water soluble, is to actually get some damp kitchen paper and actually wash it rather than trying to rub it with your glue remover, which just tends to spread it everywhere. So I can slide off the belly band to actually open the box if I was receiving this box, and inside I might pop some tissue paper and wrap a really pretty gift, or I might add some cookies if I was good at baking. I'm not too bad at baking, but it's not one of my passions. I'm just going to carefully slide that over that. And there we go. Quick and easy gift packaging, and I think that that's it. If I've got anybody left watching me live, I'm going to swing you back round and say goodbye. And if you're watching on catch up, I hope that you've enjoyed that project. Let me just hold it a bit close to the camera so you can see the detail. Hopefully you can see, there you go, you can see the foiling on the flowers of the speciality paper and the foiling in the speciality paper behind. Okay, so let me just swing the camera back round and I will say goodbye. Let me just take a seat. Ooh. Press the right button. Yes, I've pressed the right button. That's super. So thanks once again for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration. I will just say my usual thank you and close off goodbye messages. So if you're watching on catch up and it's still Tuesday the 7th, then tomorrow is free shipping day for one day only. If you're watching this on catch up on YouTube after either the 7th or the 8th of December 2021, then you've missed free shipping day, but not to worry, you can still order from me online. Just always check my social media pages on Facebook and Instagram for the latest host code that will qualify you for a free gift from me. And if you are watching me on YouTube, thank you ever so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please will you hit the subscribe button which I think is somewhere down here. Give me a thumbs up to give me feedback if you've enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs down if you've not enjoyed the video, but please give me some constructive criticism or constructive feedback. Always welcome. I do act on feedback, so if there's something I can do to improve, please tell me. Please don't be rude. I will just delete your comments. Just saying. But please do give feedback in all instances. And thanks for subscribing. Subscribing to my YouTube channel really does help. It helps to keep the content free to air, and I really appreciate it. And that's it for messages from me for this time. Thanks once again for tuning in, and please keep an eye out for my next video. Until then, stay safe, stay happy, whatever you do, keep crafting. Bye for now.